Blockade liquor has done me wrong. I can't sleep night or day. That terrible feeling that comes along when the kick it begins to get away. Potash, poison, and a mixture too. They call it sugar of lead. If you drink...
What's up, everybody? I'm Lance Storm. This is WN420 because regular news is boring. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Prohibition. And no, I haven't gotten my prohibitions mixed up. I know which one we're still currently in. But I think we need to talk about the old Prohibition so that we can talk about the new Prohibition. Because now they're wanting to track our legal weed with technology. And this might not be the kind of technology that you would normally think about. Whenever I think of people tracking weed, it's usually who has the best strains, which place to go to, what country, where, you know, stuff like that. But that's not what they're talking about with this. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the video. Right now we're going to talk about the prohibition of alcohol and how they poisoned some of the alcohol back then. So it's starting to look kind of familiar. Maybe they weren't trying to poison it, maybe they were just trying to track it.
Did you know, in 1926, the federal government poisoned alcohol in an effort to curb alcohol consumption during the Prohibition? As a result, by the time the Prohibition had ended in 1933, an estimated 10,000 people died from being poisoned by their own government.
That meme came out earlier last year, at least it was the first time I seen it, and it caused kind of an uproar. A lot of people were kind of tripping out about it, so I figured maybe we should talk about it eventually. I found this article in Snopes, and there's a lot more to it than what I'm going to highlight, but I thought you guys might enjoy it, so here it is.
The claim: in 1926, the federal government poisoned alcohol to curb consumption during Prohibition. By the time Prohibition ended in 1933, an estimated 10,000 people had died from this poisoning. The rating is half true, half false. It's a mixture. What's true? When the manufacture and sale of alcohol was illegal between 1922 to 1933, regulatory agents encouraged mixtures making industrial alcohol undrinkable, including the addition of lethal chemicals. What's false? The government did not poison supplies of alcohol meant for human consumption, nor did it intentionally aim to kill those who drank the tainted products. An internet factoid holding that the United States government intentionally and fatally poisoned more than 10,000 of its own citizens between 1926 and 1933.
That's pretty interesting, and it brings up a lot of thoughts and ideas. I've heard in the past that they poison alcohol with like gasoline and diesel and a whole bunch of different things like that. They're saying that it wasn't for human consumption. So if there was poison in alcohol or alcohol in a poison, somebody must have got something mixed up at the factory that day. I don't know, it must have been a Friday and they wanted to go home early. I've actually heard that the alcohol back in the day was strong enough to run your car on, and in fact that's what a lot of people did, and that's part of the reason why the prohibition of alcohol started. That's just some stuff that I heard. Let me know in the comments section down below if you've heard that or any other rumors about how or why the alcohol prohibition had started. But I bring all that up to say, not necessarily maybe were they doing that to poison alcohol, but maybe they thought it was a way to track it, to see where it was coming from. That maybe they weren't trying to poison people to death, they were trying to get them sick so they could check the hospital reports and see where they were coming from. Which makes me think about paraquat, which is another poison that they had, and they sprayed on the marijuana plants back in the 70s or the 80s, something like that, to kill the plants, but it wound up poisoning the plants and poisoning the people who were smoking it. And that brings us to current day, where now they're wanting to track our weed with technology. There's a new bill, Development of Marijuana Tracking Technology. No, I didn't just make that up, that's a real thing. It's out in Colorado, and here, you guys need to hear this.
Concerning the development of marijuana tracking technology, the bill requires the Institute of Cannabis Research at Colorado State University, Pueblo, to develop marijuana tracking technology. The technology must include an agent that is applied to the marijuana plant. The scan, at a minimum, would indicate whether the marijuana or hemp was cultivated, manufactured, or sold by a licensed marijuana business or registered hemp cultivator. The institute shall select a vendor to develop the technology. After the technology is developed, the state license authority must be satisfied that the technology provides an effective means of tracking marijuana. After the state license authority determines the technology is effective means of tracking marijuana, it shall promulgate rules that require the technology to be used by licensed marijuana businesses. And the Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture shall promulgate rules that require registered industrial hemp cultivators to use the technology. The technology that scans the marijuana must be made available to law enforcement and the Department of Revenue. The bill clarifies that the gray market and black market marijuana enforcement grant program could award grants to law enforcement agents to purchase the marijuana scanning technology.
So they're wanting to track our weed with an agent that is applied to the product. I don't think anybody wants to have weed that has a spy on it. It's not like I've ever been at the dispensary and seen somebody go in there and be like, hey man, do you got any weed that's got an extra vitamin E oil in it? No, that shit don't happen. If I go into a dispensary and see they got some 007 weed, I'm not getting that shit. Guaranteed they're spying on you with it. Weed tracking, that's a crazy thing, and it really makes me think about that paraquat quite a bit because like how else are they going to apply it if they're either going to spray it or genetically modify your plants. And with Big Pharma looking to get into it, that's probably going to be the way they do this. Everybody's going to have genetically modified weed before they're over with it, unless we step up and do something. It's time to fight for total legalization of the plant, guys. These are some crazy times we're living in. It's 2018 and we have Minority Report weed, or 007 weed, whatever you want to call it. They're wanting to, well, we don't have it yet, they're wanting to have it. So anything that they're talking about, you know that they're trying to do. Unfortunately, this is kind of weird. They don't even have a system designed to track the weed. They don't have it made, the tracking device. They don't have the school fully authorized to do so. So why, like, this bill is just crazy, guys. I don't know what else to say about it. I will follow up on this in a future video for sure, and we might talk about paraquat in another video. These are crazy times that we're living in this wonderful, wacky world of weed. I'm Lance Storm, this is WN420, because regular news is boring. You guys stay beautiful, stay positive, and have a wonderful day. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, let you know whenever we drop cool new videos.